Okay, so today in the shop we have a 1971 CB350. I bought this at auction. It's a cute little bike. When I saw it on the block, they had a preview, and I went up, I saw it, got a good look at it. It is a barn find. It probably hasn't been. It looks like it's been sitting for at least 20 years. It's got about 96 and change on it, and it's completely unmolested. So we're going to go over this bike, and we are going to see what it's going to take to resurrect it. And we're going to see if I made a mistake or not. All right, let's get started. I think the only thing missing from this bike is the toolkit. Other than that, everything else is there. I'm really surprised. Looking at some of the other stuff we got going on here. These fuel lines. I just heard that crack. I could probably snap this with my hand. These are hard as a rock, both of them. We're gonna change those plugs out. They're cheap enough. Change them out. Let's see what the oil looks like. I just checked this a second ago. I wanted to take a look at that. It actually doesn't look that bad. I'm really surprised. I'm not going to bother turning that. Not until I get it apart. I don't want to rupture anything. Tires suck. This is not going to be a restoration. It's a resurrection. We're just going to try to get this thing up and running. The next guy can restore it if they want, or ride it if they want. Let's see what happens with the tires anyway. We're going to get a good look at those tires and see what's going on with them. As a whole, it's not in terrible shape. The paintwork is in good shape. The tank doesn't have any dents. These, I think, are plastic. Yeah, they're not. Oh, man, that's a little loose. That's in good shape. All the chrome, every bit of it's got pitting on it. Every bit of it. And I'm going to clean that up as best I can. But, I think it's got a little bit of potential. I think it'll clean up. And, it's not leaking any oil. It's been sitting for however long. Usually you'd see something under there. You really can't see with the lighting, but it's pretty clean under there. You got some cobwebs in through here I got to clean out. Again, more pitting on the chrome. Yeah, the seat's not ripped. The seat's not ripped at all. In fact, the seat's actually in pretty good shape. That'll clean up. Little sissy bar in the back, luggage rack, whatever you want to call it. It's even got the silly little Mickey Mouse mirrors on it still. And it came with a key and a title. So, we're in pretty good shape here. That's a little faded up there, but that might clean up nice. Let's see what we got down here. That shift lever is pretty pitted. Most of the rubber's in good shape. Those fuel lines are hard as a rock, but all this other stuff is pretty pliable. All the lines, spark plug boots, they're gonna be all right. I'm a little concerned. I can't see it now. I'll have to get them apart, but a lot of times in a bike this old, these carburetor, these boots here for the intake, they dry rot pretty good. I guess the good thing is, I don't know if you can see it or not, but these are actually really short. So I might be in good shape there. But either way, I'll show you a trick. Well, it's kind of a shady tree way to do it, but there is a way to get those to work, at least for the interim, if they're leaking air. Let's see here. Tires are shot. They're just too old. They're not severely cracked or anything like that, but they're shot. But for the purposes of getting this thing running and riding and make sure the transmission shifts and all that other kind of nonsense, I'm just going to try to fill them with air and go. Let's see here. I can see on this side that one of the seals on the forks appears to have been leaking everywhere. Alright, so I got the jump box hooked up to it in a state-of-the-art fashion. Safety is my number one concern. We're going to, let's just go through these electrics and see if there's any problems. Alright. Hey. Alright, that's the headlight. That's high, that's low, that's cool. Got a little light there. Yeah, that one's working. Can't tell. That one's on. There she goes. All right. Let's see here. All right. Cool. All right. Let's see the handle brake. Roger that. The foot brake. Yeah, she's working. Wait a second here. Yep, the horn works. This has a starter on it, so, contact. All right, now we're talking. Obviously, we need to check some other stuff. So right now, we're going to check the spark. And we'll see if that checks out. Now, all you got to do is put it on the casing of the motor, and it should ground it out, and you should get a spark. Just for testing purposes. Did you see that? All right, that one's working. See if I don't get shocked here. That one's working too. In fact, you know what? I don't know if you can see it with the camera, but that was actually a pretty strong spark. That's good. So before I pull the carburetors off, I'm going to actually check compression right now. All right, well, I don't have any reference data yet. I just haven't done it yet on what the compression should actually be for this guy. What I'm actually going to be looking for here is consistency between the two cylinders. If I have consistency, if it's going to be within 5 pounds of each other, then I'm going to say we're good to go. So let's check the cylinder on the right. So we got 90. We got 90 on the right side. That's that I think that's going to be okay. Let's see here. I thought for sure it'd be well over 100, but like I said, I don't have any reference data for this bike, so I just don't know. We'll go over to the left side now. Let's see what we got going on in here. And I actually was holding that up a little bit longer on the ignition, I think. And we're about 90, I'm going to say 93, 94, maybe 95. So we're good. For me, I'm good with that. I'm good with it's consistent on both sides. I'm going to let that ride. I want to just get a quick shot of these boots here. I couldn't see them before with the carburetors on. The lighting in the shop's not all that great. But you know what? They're actually really nice. They're not bad at all. They're still pliable. They're not cracked at all. Actually, it's nice and sticky when I rub my finger on it. Yeah, these are okay. These are okay. I'm not even going to take these off. Let's get a look at the other side here. Maybe I can get a good shot of the cylinder inside there, or the valve rather. Let's see here. Let's see if you can get a good shot in there. And you know, believe it or not, that is not a terrible amount of buildup on that valve. Yeah, we're looking all right. We're looking all right. Again, this side too. That's pretty good. All right, I got these carburetors on the bench. All right, so I got both of the carbs off. Exterior-wise, they're in good shape. They're in good shape, no corrosion. Now, if you remember earlier in the video, the petcock was off. And that's a good thing, because all that shit did not, I don't think it got into these carbs. And in fact, the fuel lines that I cracked off and broke, those were empty. So the fuel's been off all this time. But what I discovered here is these slides inside here on both carburetors, they are stuck. They are not going to move. They're not going to move at all. Can you see that? Now, if I remember correctly, I think there's a spring-loaded diaphragm on the top of here. And then obviously at the bottom here, we're going to have a float bowl and float and whatever kind of gobbledygook has been sitting down there for the last 20-something years. We're going to get these apart. I'll do that off camera, and then we will reconvene. Okay, so I got the carburetor on the left side taken apart, and actually, you know what? It looks okay. I got a little bit of testing to do with this, and basically, I'm just going to stick that in a bowl of gasoline and give it about 10-15 minutes. I'll take it out. I'll shake it. If I hear any fluid in it or gasoline in it, I know this is no good. But I think this is going to be good. You know, taking these apart, like I said, that petcock was off. There was no gasoline in there. The only gasoline was just sitting at the bottom of this. And that's going to clean right up. And the reason why the slide was stuck was the needle was, if you can see the goo right there, that it just gummed up and it was just stuck in there. Now, this one here, I've got the same issue. So, I'll get that apart and I'll clean that up. But we're pretty good here. There's no corrosion or anything. This is just all gummed up. I'll clean it up. All the rubber's in good shape. This is nice. And actually, you know what? You know, a lot of times with something, these old rubber gaskets, as soon as, you know, if you've ever taken these apart before, you'll take this gasket out and it expands and you can never get the damn thing back in there. But these are good. You know, they've been dry for a real long time and they haven't been soaking in gasoline. This is in new condition. This can go right back into service. Seriously. I'm not even concerned about that at all. So basically, this carburetor is good. It just needs to be cleaned. And then we're going to put it back together. We'll make sure all these passages are blown out between compressed air and a little bit of carb cleaner. And yeah, I'll get these bitches cleaned up. I'll put them back on the bike and we'll go from there. Let's take a look and see what we got in here. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Get a good look in there. Oh, yeah. There's half a tank of gas in there. Maybe it's not full like I thought it was. I guess the reason why it sounded so solid. All that nice crusty goodness. Good God. And the smell. Jesus. Ah. It kind of looks... It looks like apple juice now. Apple cider. It's like I just opened up a manhole cover. I'm looking into a sewer right now. Yeah, you know what? It's bad. It's bad, but you know, it's I don't know. It's not. It's like it's flaking off. I might be able to do something with that. I think I might be able to do something with that. We'll get to that, though. We'll get to that. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put, we're going to use a media. I'm going to put a media in here. And in this case, the media is going to be these. This thing probably weighs about 5 to 7 pounds. And it's got these little nuts in it. And they got these little teeth on them. See that? Now my hope is I'm going to throw these in the tank and I'm going to put it in my dryer. My wife is not home, so I'm going to put it in the dryer. And what's going to happen is it's going to be like a rock tumbler. And I'm going to wrap it up in blankets, I'll wrap it up in pillow, duct tape, whatever I got to do. I'll close it up and I'll get it in that dryer so it's not banging around in the dryer. And no heat, obviously no heat. We're going to fluff it. And I give it about an hour and then we'll see what we got. So we will meet at the dryer. Well, I have the tank swaddled. It's in 2 cargo blankets, wrapped in duct tape. I think these are called tines. It's going long ways. This would be the side of the tank you're looking at right now. The media is inside of it. All those little nuts. It's sitting on that. I think it's a tine. I guess it's a tine, a tumbler, whatever you want to call it. It's sitting on that one. It's sitting on that one. And I have our finest pillows stuffed on top so it won't rock back and forth. It's very important that this thing's not going to tumble. You know, you want it firmly affixed in the dryer. I've never done this before, but hey, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that you don't want your shit rattling around in there. Another important thing to remember about a dryer is air comes in through here and then it goes out the back side. So you don't want to block the whole thing. So let me, I'm going to leave the door open so I can see what's going on. Light went out. And I got this set for, let's see here. We're going to set this, I'm going to go for an hour and a half. No heat. Very important. Now, what I didn't expect was the silence, but I figure, well, I guess with all the blankets and stuff on it, there's a lot of insulation in there, so even if my wife comes home, she is not even going to hear this rattling around in there. You see that? And I'll check on it periodically. My office is just in the other room there, so if something goes weird, I'll be able to go in there and figure out what's going on. So yeah, we'll give this an hour and a half, and we'll look at it when it's done. Earlier in the video, I talked about whether or not I made a mistake buying this bike. So far I haven't found a reason why it was parked. It could have just been boredom. Again, we still haven't discovered if there's catastrophic failure inside the engine or not. This is that moment. We're going to find that out right now. I did get the carbs back on. I'm absolutely certain that I'm going to have to do additional balancing, and I'm probably going to have to mess with the fuel-air ratio screw on both of them. Again, I haven't gotten any reference data for this yet. I'm going to do that today if I get time. But right now we got the auxiliary power box, bottom side of your screen. I got auxiliary fuel. It's hanging on that rod there. And I did try to get it started a little earlier today when I got the carbs first on, just kind of fiddle-farting around. And you know what? It cranked over. It started for about 10-15 seconds. But what I'm going to try to do now is just see if, if I got a knock on the motor, if I got to take the motor apart. Yeah, and then we'll go from there. We'll go from there and see what happens. But let's see if we can get this thing running for more than 30 seconds. There we go. I had it in the wrong position. Yeah, so we're going to have to do a little more adjustment on the carburetors. I didn't like the way that knocked out. Yeah, I'll balance them a little more. I'll get the ratio screws in there. Again, too, it might also have to do with the fact that I don't have any restriction on the intake on the front end of that. So I wonder if I put those air boxes back on, it'll probably run a little better. It runs great now. I mean, the engine sounds awesome. But now I know I can change the oil, I can change the plugs, I can clean the rest of the bike up. We're going to get that fuel tank cleaned up, and we might coat it. We're going to see what happens after I clean it out. And we'll put this thing back together. She's idling a little high right now, I think, so I'll have to get that squared away. And yeah. Okay, so the tank is out of the dryer, obviously. Got it on the bench, and you know what? It is what it is. I think the results are acceptable. I did, when I got all the nuts and everything out, and I rinsed out in the parts washer, and I got a little bit of flash. It's starting to flash rust there, and that's okay. That's not a big deal. But I think you can see here, I mean, night and day. What the hell is that? Oh, okay. Night and day. I mean, look earlier in the video and remember what this thing looked like. So you can actually see that it's still a little wet in there. I mean, earlier you couldn't even see the petcock. And let's see if we can see it now. No, you still can't see it because I got a bad angle, but it's not so bad. I wish I had an inspection camera. You know. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. I definitely think we're gonna have to coat it, obviously. But the coating will adhere nicely, I bet. But all those chunks. Okay, well, here she is. You know, it is what it is. You know, I cleaned it up. I serviced as much as I could, or as much as I wanted to get into. You know, chrome came out okay. It's not perfect. Some pieces are better than others. Paint is okay. Everything. You know what? It's just everything is just okay. Definitely not going to be a show bike, but it is a clean, respectable machine now. And you know what? I did end up swapping out the tires because, you know, once I started getting into it, I just like, you know what? I don't even want to go 5 miles an hour on this thing. So I ordered a set of tires. I put them on there. Obviously, it's as clean as it's going to be. We went through the carbs, got new fuel lines, went through the inside of the tank. You know what? I chose not to line the inside of the tank because, you know, like I said, I'm selling this bike. I did not want anyone to think I was hiding anything. And regardless of that, the tank came out pretty clean. You know, for a 46-year-old bike, it's acceptable. I got all the goo out. I got all the rust chunks out, or chunks of whatever the hell that shit was, and it's pretty clean in there. It's pretty clean. Let's see if we can open it up. At least I think it's pretty clean. I'm sure somebody's going to have their own opinion. I don't know if you can see in there or not. I don't have a flashlight on me, so you might get back a little bit. You can't really see it. Just take my word for it. It's acceptable. You know, the seat doesn't have any, no tears in the seat. No tears in the sissy bar rack there. We know all the electric works. And I don't know... You know, I checked the fork seals. They weren't leaking, so something else had to have happened. Because you know what I saw when I got the tire off, there was all kinds of that shit up here. So I don't know wherever this was sitting inside a shed or a barn, if something spilled next to it, or they dripped oil on it and it just collected dust and dirt over the years. But you know what? Get a good look. You know what? It didn't turn out so bad. You know, we got new plugs in it. The new oil is in it. You know, the shift lever and all that stuff, that cleaned up pretty good. The exhaust cleaned up pretty good. You know, I was reading online the other day about, I guess, some of this stuff here. It's real infamous for the bottom of the exhaust rotting out. Not a speck of that on this bike. Nothing like that. I took the chain off and cleaned it. You know, took the shocks off and cleaned those. You know, whatever rubber I could take off without it being a pain in the ass, I took that off and wiped that down. Rims came out okay, or the spoke wheels came out all right. Let's see here. Focus. Even the spokes are okay. You know, these spokes, they weren't chrome to begin with. I don't know, maybe they were nickel. I don't know what they were. But they came out all right. Let's see here. You remember all that shit on that rim? Look at that thing now. Brakes are adjusted, obviously. You know, the back brake is probably a little tighter than I'd like to see it. And I could probably knock that off a little bit. And I might actually do that here in the next couple days. And, you know, when I took the brakes out, obviously at 9,600 miles or whatever this bike has, the brakes are fucking brand new still. But yeah, you know what? We did all right. And let's see here. I'll start this bad boy up. I gotta find the key now. Yeah, she came out all right. I tried to get period correct tires for it. I think they came out all right. No, they're nothing spectacular. You know, this bike is rated at 105 miles an hour top speed, and I think the tires here are rated for 130. So that'll do, pig. All right, let's see here. Balance those carbs a little bit more. Idle's okay. Maybe it's idling a little bit low, but she's still a little cold. That idle's okay. I like it around 1100. So yeah, I think the new owner is going to be very happy. And if they want to restore it further, go ahead. Like I said, this was a resurrection, not a restoration. All right. This is Mechanicity, Central Ohio. If you can't fix it, break it more.